Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's update, the public information session on wildfires in the Thompson-Nicola Regional District. Before we get started off today, the TNRD would like to acknowledge that we connect with many First Nations communities across our vast regional district, and today are located on the Secwepemc territory, situated with the unceded ancestral lands of the Secwepemc Nation. And the TNRD appreciates the partnerships that we have and respect the territory and land on which we gather here today. So today I expect we'll have a bit of a shorter meeting than we have in the past. In attendance on our panel today, we have BC Wildfire here to give us an update on some of the remaining fires that are impacting some properties within the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, and perhaps some safety reminders as we head into the long weekend for wildfire safety. The contact information will be posted following this session, where the recording will be uploaded to YouTube. You can also find recordings of all previous meetings located on the TNRD.ca website. The descriptions will also be posted on our YouTube posts for all of our wildfire update meetings. So to start with, we will be hearing from BC Wildfire Services on two fires in the area. So I'm going to hand it over to BC Wildfire and just see if we're going to get an update to start with on the White Rock Lake wildfire. I think we'll start off with. So over to you, BC Wildfire.
Sure, you bet. Thanks. So it's Forest Tower, Fire Information Officer at the White Rock Lake wildfire. So I will share my screen and it will be a pretty brief update as mentioned. So I think people can see I have the dashboard up here. So kind of the main piece here is that we have amended our area restriction. It sometimes takes a little bit for it to catch up on the dashboard, but there is on the Wildfire of Note page an updated area restriction map. And so kind of these large hash marks well outside the fire perimeter won't be on there once our dashboard catches up. That area restriction just was amended a few hours ago. So it's quite tight. As you can see, I think my screen should catch up to show the actual map. So just wanted to highlight that there is still an area restriction in effect. So I know it's hunting season and people may be looking to access camping areas within the area restriction, but there are some pretty big hazards still in there. So even though it might not be active wildfire in some areas, there are lots of dangerous areas. Just given how hot and fast the fire burns through some areas, there's going to be trees falling down slopes, rocks falling down slopes. Some roads that maybe previously were passable might not be passable anymore, just given the impact of wildfire. So I just want to point out at the top here that is still in effect. And across most of the wildfires of note in BC right now, there are area restrictions. And so just want to emphasize that it's not only for our own wildfire suppression kind of safety and making sure that our crews are safe in there. It's also for the safety of everyone else who may not be familiar with working in an area. And some of those hazards aren't really recognizable to an untrained eye. So things like ash pits where you might be walking along and then step into where there might be some stuff that's still burning under the ground basically, and could have some pretty bad consequences with that. So that's kind of just something to pay attention to as we go into fall here, is that there will still be those area restrictions in effect. Aside from that, the White Rock Lake wildfire, as people probably are aware at this point, is being held at this time. So kind of a big status change from out of control to being held. So we're not expecting it to grow any further outside of pre-established boundaries and containment lines. So because of that, there have been recommendations put in and are starting to become reflected in terms of orders and alerts changing. So we are kind of into the next phase of this fire where there will still be a significant suppression effort in the next few weeks here, but more on securing where the wildfire is and not trying to stop its growth anymore at this point. We've kind of achieved that goal. And now it's just making sure that it's safe all around the perimeter where there are structures interface, and on any roads in the interior of the fire, working towards kind of suppression, danger tree assessing, falling, all that kind of stuff. So lots of work still, but a pretty positive direction on this fire. So I'll leave it at that just to keep it quick and short, and I'll pass it over to my other wildfire colleagues that are on the call.
Great, thanks so much for the update, Forrest. I think next we were going to hear about the July Mountain wildfire, or the Cascades complex of fires.
Yeah, hi there. This is Carly,
Carly.
information officer at the July Mountain Fire for the Cascades complex. Forrest actually kind of mentioned many of the things I was planning on touching on today. Just safety going into the long weekend with hunting season, things like that, something to be mindful of. There's an area restriction, and I'll bring up that map as well. I'm going to start with the sharing my screen and bringing up the fire perimeter map, just to give a bit of an overview about where crews are still working and the progress that has been made to date. So here's a perimeter map. This yellow line here is the Coquihalla Highway, and then a couple roads, main roads in the area. This road right here, the Coldwater Road. We have the Cane Valley Road up here. So this eastern flank here is where crews are kind of focusing at the moment. We have crews in the Shovel Nose Mountain area moving eastwards from Shovel Nose Mountain, and working on danger tree assessment and falling up in the Shovel Nose Mountain area. We also have crews over here on the west flank, just doing some mop up, actioning some hot spots, and that's something that we are still seeing is some area hotspots in areas where smoke is becoming more visible as temperatures are increasing. So temperatures are expected to increase through the weekend and peak around Tuesday. Not a lot of rain in the forecast, but hopefully near the end of next week. But in the meantime, low overnight temperatures are keeping the relative humidity overnight quite high, good overnight recoveries. And so that's also kind of giving crews the upper hand. So far, there has been a dozer guard established basically around this entire northern section of the fire, and all the way down west over to Brookmere. And then on the, that was the east, on the western side of the fire, same thing, kind of down in this area, and then throughout the Murray Lake area, on the western side of Murray Lake, and down here south near Juliet Creek. There is an area restriction, as I mentioned. So here's the map of that. The Coquihalla again is the yellow line here through the middle. And a couple of things that we do really just want to reiterate is safety going to the long weekend, that this is still an active wildfire site, and there is fire on the landscape. So safety considerations are incredibly important. Also, there are crews working in the area. We still have 116 firefighters and 6 danger tree assessors and fallers dedicated to this fire alone. And then in addition, we have 6 helicopters, 9 pieces of heavy equipment, and 33 IMT personnel assigned to the complex. So people coming and going on these roads. And then also just to mention that the campfire prohibition is still in effect, and that's another important thing to note through the weekend. We've seen some campfires in the area, and just want folks to remember that at this time we have several residents that are concerned, and we just want to make sure that safety measures are taken. And yeah, I think that's about it from us.
Great, thanks very much for the update, Carly. I don't know, did we have anybody else here from BC Wildfire today that was to provide an update on wildfires in the TNRD, or was it just, I think we just had the 2 of you. But yeah, if anyone else from BC Wildfire is here, please feel free to chime in before you need to get back to work.
Yeah, I think this is Aiden from the Kamloops Fire Center. I think Carly and Forrest covered that very well. The only reminder I had was about the campfire prohibition as well for the Kamloops Fire Center. So I was just going to show the dashboard here. I know the TNRD does extend a little bit outside the Kamloops Fire Center boundary. So I'll show on the screen on our dashboard, this brown boundary is the Kamloops Fire Center boundary. So everything within the Kamloops Fire Center remains under a campfire prohibition. So there may be members that are up kind of in the Caribou or in areas in different fire centers that are also under the TNRD. So feel free to check in on your specific fire center for the campfire prohibitions for your fire center. So I believe Caribou and Coastal had some rescinding of campfire bans, but within the Kamloops Fire Center for the long weekend, just a reminder that propane fireplaces are allowed outside as long as they have a CSA or ULC approval. So yeah, that's all for us.
Okay, thank you very much. Some really good safety reminders as we do head into the long weekend, and it certainly looks like we're going to have some nice weather, so people will surely be going out to enjoy some of the clean air and clear skies out there. So thanks for those reminders for everybody out there in the Kamloops Fire Center, the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, and surrounding areas to stay safe this weekend. So I think that was our update from BC Wildfire today. So thank you again so much, as always, for sharing these updates with us and our community members throughout the summer this year with all of the activity that's been going on. We really appreciate all of the time and information that you've been able to provide us at these update meetings. So we will potentially be winding down on these wildfire update meetings. As you heard from BC Wildfire, there is quite a bit of a change in activity happening, and the White Rock Lake wildfire status now being held is great news for our region and beyond, for many of the areas that's had an impact on. So I'm going to share the TNRD's wildfire status dashboard today as well, just to give a brief update from the perspective of the orders and alerts that remain active within the TNRD. As I mentioned, we have had these meetings throughout the summer as needed. So we've had them, more frequently as the number of fires and impacted residents has increased. And now that that number is decreasing, we will potentially, this could be our final public information meeting, but of course, the summer is not over yet. So please keep following us on our social media pages, Twitter and Facebook, as that's where we have been publishing every time we've been holding these meetings, as well as a recording link afterwards. So if there is anyone who has not been able to attend these meetings as they are conducted live, a recording is always made available afterwards so that they can get up to date. We did not have any questions submitted from public today. So I think a lot of the questions that have been coming in have been from folks who have been previously evacuated and are returning home and are looking for some guidance in terms of support, financial support, insurance claims, fridges and freezer disposal, and that sort of nature. And we have quite a lot of information that you can find on that if you need some further information on our website. Again, that's tnrd.ca. And we still have our active Resiliency Center, which is there to help connect residents with a lot of those various questions and their own individual needs in terms of starting insurance claims if they have experienced any loss of structure or needing or seeking financial assistance if they have been impacted during this season. Again, all of these links will be posted on the YouTube video for this. So I'll also include a link to the area restrictions that BC Wildfire had mentioned previously, so that you can click on that and you can see exactly where area restrictions may be in effect if you are thinking of doing any traveling out into the region over the long weekend. I'm just going to do a screen share here so we can have a look at the evacuation status dashboard here in our region. So we're looking at the Thompson-Nicola Regional District here is outlined with a black border where you can kind of see my mouse outlining. If you're not entirely familiar with the area, it's quite a large area that we have here in the beautiful Thompson-Nicola region. And as you can see, this map, if you have been following our dashboard or these update meetings, is looking significantly different than it has in the past. So what you see here outlined or shaded in green are areas that indicate all clear has recently been updated as the status for these shapes. So here you can see this used to have quite a lot of red and orange, which indicated that there were properties under evacuation order and evacuation alert here. Now they are all in green, which is very good news, which means that people are able to return home and there's no longer a threat due to the wildfires for those properties. Just on the southern part of the map, this is the most recent change we made on recommendation of BC Wildfire this morning. Some properties down in the near the July Mountain wildfire here, just kind of to the north of Merritt area, or sorry, south of Merritt area. There were some remaining properties on evacuation order here, and they were all rescinded down to an alert status. So all of the properties down in the July Mountain wildfire area that had previously been on evacuation order are now on evacuation alert or all clear. I'm just going to minimize the map so I can share the numbers that we are still looking at that are impacting properties in the TNRD. We do still have, it's showing 2 evacuation orders that are active. One of them is actually the village of Lytton, which is still showing on the Thompson-Nicola Regional District's map here, as we had a agreement in place with Lytton throughout the emergency that impacted that community. So outside of that, there is just one remaining evacuation order within the Thompson-Nicola Regional District for a property out near the White Rock Lake wildfire. So that is a significant change in terms of our active evacuation orders. And then we have remaining on evacuation alert, about 9 separate evacuation alerts that are impacting about 191 properties. And that is all in the July Mountain wildfire area that I had pointed out earlier. That's kind of all shaded into orange. And we had just kind of done a lift of status to the remaining properties down there this morning. And over the past several days, some of these other green areas on the map are other recent orders and or alerts that have been downgraded and lifted to all clear status. So that remains 3% of the Thompson-Nicola Regional District is now currently being impacted by evacuation orders and alerts and states of local emergency within our electoral areas. To compare, a couple weeks back, around August 15th or 16th, we had about 25% of the entire TNRD impacted by evacuation orders and alerts. So just over the last 2.5 weeks, there has been some significant progress made in the fight on those fires and their impact on properties in the region. So it's certainly looking like things are moving in a positive direction in terms of people being displaced or impacted that had been remaining on order or alert for quite some time. So again, certainly for those residents who have been impacted throughout the summer by wildfires, We're encouraging anybody with questions to contact us at the emergency operations here at the TNRD or our Resiliency Center if you have questions about sort of next steps and progress in returning home. And again, we're sort of winding down the full-scale operations of our Emergency Operations Center. However, it still is operating, so you can always give us a call, follow us on our social media pages if you're looking for the most current information, or visit our website. And as mentioned by BC Wildfire, there are a number of those area restrictions in place. In addition to those, also a reminder to check the Drive BC website if you are doing any traveling over the long weekend, to check on any road closures or impacts there. And I guess as a final reminder, I would just like to let people know to sign up for the TNRD's Emergency Alert Notification System, Buoyant Alert. As these remaining evacuation orders alerts kind of get downgraded, we're notifying residents or people who have signed up to receive information about those. And of course, if anything new pops up and that is impacting properties in the region, and we're advised to put any new alerts or orders in place, you will also receive those directly with the method that you choose through the emergency alert notification system, but only if you have registered to receive them from us. So big thank you to everybody who has signed up this season. We have well over 25,000 subscribers, I believe, that are using that. So we've really been able to put that system to the test this year. It's just yet another way that we're able to directly connect with all of our residents during an emergency like this. So with that, I think that kind of covers everything. I do see a couple questions in chat. We don't have an awful lot of other questions, so I'm just going to see if I can answer them. Tim Petruk asked the name of the speaker right now. My name is Michelle Nordstrom. I'm sorry if I did not introduce myself at the beginning of the meeting. Michelle Nordstrom, I'm the Public Information Officer for the TNRD's Emergency Operations Center. And no problem, thanks Tim. And you're welcome, Susan, for the updates. And as I mentioned, we may or may not have any more of these updates, but certainly will as and when they are needed. So thank you to everyone who has been tuning into these and receiving this information. And of course, again, thank you to BC Wildfire for joining us and giving regular updates to our residents throughout the emergency and wildfire season this year. And I have one final, let's see, couple of other questions here. Let's see if I can answer any of these for you. I'll do my best. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna allow one of our attendees to ask a question. Let's see if this works. I've D Den. Do you have a question? You may need to press your unmute button if you're using the Zoom app. If you're on the phone, there's another way to unmute. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure. But yes, I've just given you permission to talk. If you wanted to ask a question, you should be able to unmute yourself. It doesn't seem to be working. No, you're still muted, D Den. Well, I'm sorry we weren't able to get to you. I guess I'll throw it out there if anybody else had anything to ask before we sign off. I'm happy to attempt to answer any questions that I can on behalf of the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, or take a question back for you to someone else who might be able to respond. And I'll try one final time for our attendee, Dee Den, who had his or her hand raised to ask a question, but it doesn't seem to be allowing them to talk or unmute. So I apologize about that. Please feel free to give us a call. If you have a question for us, let me just leave the meeting with the direct number for our Emergency Operations Center. You can contact us at 250-377-7188. You can also email us at emergency@tnrd.ca. And again, follow us on our Twitter and Facebook page and our website for all of the latest updates and to view our emergency evacuation status dashboard. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I do apologize to our attendee who was trying to ask a final question at the end there. But thank you again to everybody for attending this potentially final meeting of our wildfire updates in the TNRD this season. Please take care and stay safe this long weekend out there, and continue to follow along with BC Wildfire if you're looking for any information on any of the wildfire activity. Take care. Bye, everybody.